Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon. Lovely to see you, Waylene. Thank you for joining me as part of the series on Even Ground. As you know, today we're going to talk about Dukathole Scholarship Fund, of which you are a recipient. And I just want to get your experience with Dukathole, how it's been for you, what the program is about, what you've learned, some of the challenges you face, and what you would like to tell people about Even Ground and the program that you've gone through. It's great to see you. We've known each other for a long time now. I
Yeah.
think we first met in 2014.
Yeah. It's been a
So
while.
it's been a long time. It's great to see you and see you grow with the program and become a lovely, fine young woman. And so I'm really excited to share with everyone, your experience. So, Waylene, just tell me a little bit about yourself. First, tell me where you are and like how you
Okay.
got there, because you're not in South Africa.
No.
And yes, tell us a little bit about you and how you got started with Dukathole and where you are now.
Sorry, you cut out. I didn't hear the last part. Sorry.
I just said, tell me a little bit about you and where you are now and how you got started with Dukathole.
Okay. So I'll start by how I got started with Dukathole Scholarship Fund. I actually started at the age of 6, but I've known everyone since I was 3. And I met them when I was 3, and Jake was doing his scholarship, his internship, and he would come every year to bring us toys and books and like teddy bears and stuff. And then in first grade, Auntie Ellen, whom I met when I was also 6, I met her finally in person when I was 6, paid for my tuition up until high school, which is current. And I got a scholarship to study at a private school in Pretoria in 5th grade, which is like an art school. And from there, I got another scholarship to study in the US in North Carolina, which is where I'm currently at. It's a sister school from South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been here for 3 years. Well, this is my 4th year, and I'm a senior, and I am applying to college, which is really exciting because I never thought I would actually be doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're just so proud of you and how far you've come. I know it can be painful, but it'd be great to tell us, me, and our donors a little bit about where you come from. What's Dukathole like? What were the
Yeah.
circumstances growing up, and how important was this program for you?
Yeah, so I actually just wrote my college essay about the challenges I've had to face and overcome. And I think the most difficult part for me was actually reading it out loud, because I'd never actually like read it or said it out loud to anyone or even to myself. It's always been a mental thing, but reading it was actually pretty good to like digest and actually reflect on that. So a little bit about growing up in Dukathole. So I didn't grow up with my parents because both of them were alcoholics. So I lived with my granny up until age 3 when she passed away. I then went and lived with my aunt and uncle, and I lived with them until I went to boarding school. And then for the most part, I was safe and I felt safe, but my friends like lived with their parents, and most of their parents were alcoholics, and which in turn made them like gravitate towards alcoholism easy, and they didn't have like a good support system, which is why part of my biggest gratitude is that I had not only such a big support system within the DSF community with my fellow students, but also within just like anyone I could talk to, Mama Beth, or I could talk to Auntie Ellen and just tell them what I'm going through, and they would support me. So I feel like I had a good support system, but for most of my friends, they didn't. And it all comes down to like how you surround yourself and who you surround yourself with. So I'm just really glad I got out of that, because I probably would have just turned into like an alcoholic or a pregnant teen, or even worse, I don't know, because
Mhm.
it's very dangerous also, not only because of drugs and alcoholism, but it's also just dangerous within the community of drugs, wanting to buy drugs, so they kill each other or they
Mhm.
kidnap kids or just like stuff like that. And so I'm really grateful that I got out.
Mhm. And, you know, we have this video up on the website about what Dukathole looks like, but can you describe it, for
Yeah.
people?
So I don't know. Every time I use the word shack, it doesn't really resonate for this country because I don't think they have shacks here. So it's like a slum. Is that the
Mhm.
correct? I don't know if that's a correct word,
Mhm.
but like I would say it's like a slum where there's like a lot of pollution because of the like trash that just gets dumped in the community, and
Mhm.
which in turn causes like health effects for people. And I mean there's all types of reason, but that's one of the major reason. And then it's a very like compacted place. Every house is like really close to each other, which means there's not enough room for people. And I don't know, it's not the best place to be
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, and so, when I would go and visit you in Dukathole, I saw all those things. It was just really interesting because
Right.
interesting and sad. All the houses are really close together. They're made of, tin and brick,
And
um,
yeah.
whatever kind of materials people could find. Um, there was, sewage in the streets, and lots of people were on drugs,
Yeah.
were into alcohol. There wasn't a lot of employment there. The school wasn't great.
Hmm.
Um, and so what I loved about Dukathole is that, Mama Beth and Auntie Ellen and Jake all came and ran this program, this,
Yeah.
mentorship and leadership program with you guys there. Um, even though the environment was really, really difficult.
Right.
Um, and can you tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you? That's where your people are, right?
Right.
That's your
Hmm.
home community. What's it been like living at boarding school and, having space and feeling safe, and
Hmm.
but at the same time being connected to your family at home?
Yeah, so this has always been like a huge like question in my head also, where in boarding school I would go to boarding school and talk to my friends back home and everything would be fine, and as soon as I would come back to Dukathole for like a return visit or something, then I would have eyes on me. Like I felt like I was being attacked, even though like I
Really?
don't know, I felt like everything was on me. People would be looking at me. And so I couldn't bring anything that I had at school. I had to like just leave some of my clothes at home so that I didn't bring any bags, so that I wasn't looking suspicious. And I've always felt like people were always talking about me. And at some point, like I realized, okay, people are just going to talk. It is what it is. And then I came to the US and it became even more of a like, oh, she thinks she's better than us because she
Mhm.
studies there, or oh, she thinks this, that, and third. And at first it would affect me because I'd be like, well, I mean, I kind of I worked for my like success. I didn't just, I mean, a door was opened and I did have to work towards it. It wasn't just
Mhm.
handed to me and then I didn't have to do anything after that. I mean, I did
Mhm.
work for it. And then some of it would be like, wow, actually like last year I had to like go through thinking about, do I want to study here for college or do I want to go to South Africa? And a part of my mind, a huge part, was like, oh well, I should just go back home because I'm not going to get any funding, I'm not going to be able to afford life here, or like I just gave up and I was like, well, it's going to be much easier being back home. But then sort of talking to Auntie Ellen and Auntie Beth made me realize that I actually did want to continue studying here because they have really good schools in the United States, and SCAD being like my top choice.
Mhm.
And so I was like, well, I'm not going to let that fear of like other people's chatter keep me from like pursuing my
Mhm.
success and my goals. And so that's what I've had to like overcome, and just realize people are
Yeah.
just going to talk, and the people that are still with me on this journey have been here because they want to see me succeed, and everyone else is just fading off. And yeah.
Yeah. And what's so interesting about that is, being part of the Dukathole program, one of the things I like about it a lot is it's not just a handout. Like, you have to do things to
Right.
stay in the program, and
Yeah.
some people don't get a chance to stay. You know, some people decide like, well, I'm not going to do this, or I'm not going to keep my grades up, or I'm not going to participate in the events, or I'm going to fall into drugs or whatnot, and then they
Right.
they can't be part of the program anymore. And so
Mhm.
I think you're right that it's not just that, sure, you were given this opportunity. The opportunity is fantastic. I'm not saying it's not, but you really had to work for it. And there are lots of people who were part of the program, but, fell by the wayside
Mhm.
because the program had strict standards.
Yeah.
Um, and, you know, do you feel at some stage you're going to go back to South Africa? Do you want to stay here in the States, or do you want to live someplace else?
So for college, I definitely want to stay here my first 4 years, and then um, I don't know what I'm gonna do after. I'm just sort
Hmm.
of hoping for the best 4 years of college, and then I do want to study further after college. So maybe
Hmm.
continuing with SCAD or joining a different program. I'm not sure. I
Hmm.
haven't thought that far ahead
Hmm.
yet.
SCAD is Savannah College of Art and Design, right?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. And um, tell me, what's it been like being in the US versus in South Africa? I mean, the countries on the surface are very, very different, but there are similarities between the two. And
Mhm.
it'd be great to get your perspective of what have you found or learned or what has changed as a result of, moving out of that space.
Yeah. So I've changed as a person, definitely mentally, because when I was first in South Africa, I had this sort of one straight opinion about life, and like, this
Hmm.
is right or this is wrong, or I'll get in trouble if I do this, versus if I don't listen to my adults around me, then I'll get in trouble, or I'm not allowed to speak my own like thoughts and stuff. But then coming here, I learned that it's okay to express yourself. It's okay to have different ideas than other people. It's fine to like tell an adult that I don't think what you're saying is correct, or actually this is incorrect, based on pure fact or based on just experience. And so I've learned that that is very different, just because of the cultural differences. Like,
Hmm.
South Africans have like more of a cultural of the older person is usually right, and so we just go by that. But here it's more of, okay, well, what's your experience, where have you learned this, where do you come from, all that. So
Hmm.
that's been a huge change. And then in terms of making friends, is a lot harder, because I came here and had to make a whole new different group of friends, which I did because I'm very social.
Hmm.
And but it slowly died out, because I'm just the kind of person, I talk only when like it's beneficial to me, like to talk about things. And I don't want to talk about just like how are you kind of questions. I mean, I do, but that's not the root of my conversations. And so most of my friends have sort of like faded out. Like, I still talk to them, but it's not like an actual good like friendship. But I
Hmm.
have like one or two good friends that I actually like take walks with and talk about life, and after that I feel very like sustained and very good about myself. And
Hmm.
then my school here is actually very, it's it has its moments, but this year has been really good. We started off with transcendentalism, which is like, do you know, it's like philosophy, but
Hmm.
most schools don't have that. And it was a really interesting subject, but also it really helped me with like navigating where I wanted to see myself going this year, and how I wanted to set goals for myself in the school year to succeed. And my host family is a huge part of my success, because without them, I wouldn't be able to be here.
Mm-hmm.
They are very kind. They love me. I love them. They always motivate me when I'm down or when I'm just feeling like a mood. They give me my space, but then later on make sure that I get back in track, which is always good. And for the most part, it's been a really good experience.
Well, great. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm so glad to hear that you're doing well, and it's so wonderful to talk to you. And we're really proud of you at Even Ground that
Thank
you've
you.
made such a transition from some place that is truly difficult to manage. To you're going to college now, and you've gotten all these scholarships, and we're just really, 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 really pleased.
Thank you.
So before we end, is there anything else you want to add or share?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone on the Even Ground board for like supporting me and supporting everyone else and believing in us. That's like a very important thing in life, is just like having that belief and like that faith in someone, because without that, then I wouldn't have been where I am. So thank you.
It is our pleasure. It is our pleasure. With that, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to chatting with you soon. And good luck on your college applications.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.